Hello YouTube, Katana Paintball, and with me today is Jack.
Hello.
And today we're going to be doing CO2 versus HPA.
Alright, there's the giant theory going around why can't you use CO2 in high guns, and why is it so important? Why can't I use CO2 in like an Ego, or why can't I use CO2 in like a God Ecstasy or something like that? But so CO2, I'm just going to take this, is filled with a cold substance. Also, another reason why CO2 isn't as good as HPA, first of all, HPA is much better, is you can never know if you get a full fill. If you get a CO2 tank, there's no gauge like on the regulator, on a regulator on an HPA tank. For CO2, you don't know if you're getting a half fill, full fill. They try to use scales and see what would be, but you just really never know. With HPA, you can have that gauge. So they know how much air is getting put in your tank.
Alright. Also, another thing about CO2, it is really cold, and it does freeze the internals of your gun, which is really unhealthy for them. It could shorten your gun's lifespan by years. I don't know.
That's also another reason why HPA beats CO2. CO2 is on the cheap side, but it's a cold substance that runs through your gun. Even on a Tippmann, it will damage the insides after a period of time. If you use it on like an electric gun, like the Mini, it won't. It will damage it immediately. Or if you have something like a salvo, like what Ryan has right here, you can use CO2 because Tippmanns are made for that.
Yeah, but CO2 will always be HPA in one category, and that is pricing.
Yes, definitely.
I mean, the price, like, I probably picked this thing up for $25, and I get free refills for a year, but it depends on where you buy it then again.
Yeah, the biggest CO2 tank you can get, I think, is a 24 ounce, and that's like $30. This is a 68 4500, which is plenty enough for an HPA tank, and this is 139. They go all the way up to like 160.
Yeah, but most CO2 tanks are good for beginner players. Like if you're like most CO2 tanks are used on Tippmann guns or US Army.
Or Tippmann guns.
Like this thing.
Or like the budget baller people who use like the JT Outcasts and stuff. Anyways, another reason why what I like about HPA is you can get a tank fill without even unscrewing the tank from your gun. This is what this thing right here is called, the fill nipple. Also, another thing about this fill nipple is, yes, it's called a fill nipple. Is you cannot get any liquid inside this fill nipple. You can get liquid inside your ASA all you want. That's totally fine. Like get like some Tri-Flow off like my Mini. If it's easier to unscrew and screw your tank, sometimes you get some Tri-Flow or some lube or something and just put a couple drops in there and screw in. People say like, dude, your tank's gonna blow up. No, it's not. If you get any like lubricant or grease in here, your paintball tank becomes a time bomb. There's many videos that on the internet or stories that one person's tank exploded, and it can really do some major damage. You can die because of this. This thing could either take off like a rocket or just with 4,500 psi, or it could just 4,500 psi just expands so rapidly. All the carbon fibers and the steel all under this just goes everywhere.
I have to say that would be a pretty cool way to go, but
it would be pretty cool to watch, but
it would be taking the perspective of eliminating your enemies to a whole new level. But I'm pretty sure there's rules against that.
Yeah, just make sure you don't get any grease in here, because your tank pretty much can't explode. But it's just a very nice thing to have, that your tank's on your gun. You don't have to unscrew your tank. Just take your entire gun up there. I'd like your fill, and then you look at your tank date. Boom, you get a fill.
Another thing about CO2 and HPA is fresh air. It's what we breathe. You know, yeah. It's like it's air. Nothing bad about it unless it blows up and kills you. CO2, on the other hand, it's not air. If you were to inhale it, I don't really know what happened. Probably freeze your insides since it's so cold. I'm not sure if that would really happen, and I don't know if CO2 is really hazardous to the environment or not.
I don't think so. It's just a sub-zero, frozen substance of carbon dioxide.
Yeah, but anyways, not important. Maybe someone would look more into that, but
yes, but this is pretty much the reason this video. The reason why difference between HPA and CO2. Now, if you are a budget baller, like you have a Titman, like you just got a Titman 98, or like a Titman Griffin, or Gryphon, or Gryphon, or however you want to call it, and all you can afford is CO2. Yes, I would recommend CO2 if you couldn't afford anything else. Like I have some friends who aren't the richest, and like one of my friends, JT Outcast and everything, I would recommend this to them because because it's cheap and it lasts, and for their guns it's meant to use a CO2 tank, but you can also use HPA on these guns. Like on a Titman, I can use HPA or CO2. Also, they did not make HPA just these tanks. They also have Steely tanks, so it's a cheaper alternative, but it's not the biggest.
Also, one other thing is, I bet you're wondering which one of these is heavier. Take a guess. This is actually lighter.
It's actually very amazing. You think which one's lighter and heavier. It's actually really cool. This is all carbon fiber, so
Like I saw that thing.
It's
I
very
thought it'd be
light.
very heavy.
Yeah, like when I first saw this, I'm like, man, that'd just be a pain. Like I'm not gonna screw in my tank all the way, but I'm just gonna get it so a couple of the threads are on there, like this. I thought, man, this would be really heavy, but it's actually quite light.
And also, a good part about that is it does balance out the gun a little in a way.
Yeah, because if you have like just your hopper and like this, and it's super heavy, this balances out. But anyways, if you have CO2 and you have the money to even get a 48 3000, upgrade it. You're saving your gun by the years.
Definitely get HPA. I definitely say it's for beginners and pros, and just anyone for woods ball and speedball.
You can use HPA. Just remember, you can use HPA on any gun. CO2 you cannot use on any gun. You can only use them on like the Titmans, the Kingmans, the Spiders, and stuff like that, and like JTs. But if you want to get a gun like that, if you want to get a gun like this, or like a GOG Ecstasy, or Proto Rail, blah blah blah, you got to have